Minute 111. On one side, Argentina, the world champions, Messi, the trophy, the history. On the other side, a country of 525,000 people, 9 minutes away from penalties. Then came the corner, one last ball into the box, a deflection, an own goal. Cape Verde lost. But by the time that ball crossed the line, the story had already stopped being about the scoreline, because this wasn't luck. This was the final move in a plan 10 years in the making, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how a nation smaller than most cities built a system capable of standing toe-to-toe with football royalty. This is the kind of story we tell on this channel, not what happened on the scoreboard, but what had to be built for that scoreboard to even be possible. Cape Verde is an archipelago of 10 islands scattered across the central Atlantic Ocean, 500 kilometers off the coast of West Africa. Together, these rugged landmasses offer just 4,000 square kilometers of territory. For scale, the entire country is smaller than the single city of Istanbul. Within this fragmented geography lives a resident population of only 525,000 people. In the global economy of football, these numbers represent a mathematical dead end. A standard domestic development system requires physical scale, hundreds of local clubs, thousands of youth players, and a vast competitive pyramid. For Cape Verde, relying on a traditional, homegrown talent pool was a structural impossibility. To bypass this demographic bottleneck, the Cape Verdean Football Federation looked outside its borders. Generations of emigration had established massive Cape Verdean communities in Lisbon, Rotterdam, and New England, a global diaspora of over 700,000 people, far outnumbering the population on the islands. In 2002, under Federation President Mario Semedo, the organization made a formal policy decision to systematically recruit the sons and grandsons of these immigrants. Instead of building expensive domestic academies from scratch, Cape Verde transformed European youth systems into its primary player supply chain. Coaches like Rui Aguas spearheaded a detailed scouting model, tracking players through lineage checks and fast-tracking their dual nationality paperwork. The diaspora essentially became a high-performance talent incubator that the tiny federation could never otherwise afford. By 2026, this deliberate strategy delivered results on the world stage, with 15 of the 26 players on the World Cup roster born outside the archipelago, raised and trained in the elite football academies of Portugal and the Netherlands. A list of passport holders does not make a national team. When these recruits first gathered, they brought a complex mix of languages, cultural habits, and sporting educations. A defender raised in Rotterdam's structured Dutch academies spoke a different tactical dialect than a winger who grew up in the street football culture of Lisbon. They shared ancestry, but little else. To compete against global giants, the Federation had to treat the dressing room as critical infrastructure. Cohesion, mutual trust, and a shared Cape Verdean identity were not treated as sentimental goals, they were engineered as performance requirements. If this group could not find a common voice off the pitch, they would never survive together on it. In 2020, the Cape Verdean Football Federation appointed Pedro Brito, widely known as Bubista, to translate this cultural mosaic into a unified squad. Bubista did not rely on emotional appeals or the romantic myth of the plucky underdog. His approach was pure mathematical survival. He accepted a hard truth. Cape Verde could not buy or breed a Ballon d'Or contender, but they could build a system designed to neutralize one. Under his leadership, the team adopted a disciplined tactical identity. They operated in a compact defensive block, compressing the spaces between their lines and waiting patiently for the opposition to overcommit before launching rapid, direct counterattacks. This tactical setup became the squad's universal dialect, bridging the gap between Rotterdam's technical academies and Lisbon's street players. It was a game of geometry and positioning, where every shift in the block was calculated to starve opponents of time. By reducing on-field chaos to a series of structured equations, Bubista proved that while elite talent is expensive, organizational discipline is free. For Cape Verde, the physical map was an active opponent. Coordinating a squad scattered across 10 Atlantic islands and European leagues created immense logistical hurdles before players even touched a ball.
For years, traveling to away qualifiers on the African mainland meant exhausting, multi-leg commercial flights, leaving athletes depleted before kickoff. Charter flights were an impossible luxury. To close this gap, the Federation directed its FIFA forward development funding straight into team travel. Instead of funding vanity projects, they secured direct routes and proper rest for critical fixtures. Federation staff managed these thin budgets with corporate precision, converting logistical efficiency into athletic recovery. This travel strategy made their ambitious football model physically operational.
The concrete results of this logistical and tactical network arrived during the African qualifiers. Drawn into CAF Group D, Cape Verde faced a grueling multi-month campaign against established continental powers. They bypassed the uncertainty of a secondary playoff route entirely, winning the group outright to secure the first direct World Cup qualification in national history. There was no backup plan or backdoor entry. They simply outperformed their rivals over the entire cycle. Long before they stepped onto the pitch in North America, this top finish served as the hard proof. The decade-long strategy of diaspora scouting and disciplined organization had transitioned from an ambitious theory into an undeniable historic reality. Group H paired the debutants with Spain, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia, a combination heavily favored to eliminate them. Yet, Bubista's defensive grid held. Cape Verde secured a goalless stalemate against Spain, fought to a dramatic 2-2 draw with Uruguay, and closed the group with another 0-0 shutout against Saudi Arabia. 3 matches, 3 points, 0 defeats. Those 3 draws were enough to survive. By advancing to the round of 32, this nation of 525,000 became the smallest country in history to reach the knockout stages. While Iceland qualified in 2018 with a smaller population, and Curaçao represents an even smaller total pool, neither ever advanced this far. The system had transitioned from theory to global validation. On July 3, 2026, Cape Verde entered Miami's Hard Rock Stadium to face defending world champions Argentina. The crowd expected a routine procession. Instead, they got a tactical war. Lionel Messi struck first in the 29th minute, but Cape Verde's block held, allowing Deroy Duarte to equalize in the 59th and force extra time. When Lisandro Martinez restored Argentina's lead, Sidney Lopez Cabral answered with a brilliant curling strike to level it at 2-2. The deadlock lasted until the 111th minute, when a Messi corner deflected off defender Dini Borges into his own net. The tiny island nation lost 3-2, but they had forced the champions into over 100 minutes of absolute panic, permanently altering how the football world viewed them. Miami was not a sudden burst of lightning, but the result of a slow, 20-year burn. Cape Verde's 2013 Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinal run provided the first evidence that their diaspora model could work. In 2023, they beat Ghana and Mozambique to top their Africa Cup of Nations group, eliminated Mauritania, and fell to South Africa only on penalties. The World Cup forced the rest of the globe to notice a machine already in motion. Yet, progress is never linear. A failure to qualify for the 2025 tournament in Morocco proved that the system remains volatile. As the 2027 tournament in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania approaches, the real challenge is sustainability rather than celebration. If you want to see more tactical breakdowns of the beautiful game, subscribe now. Cape Verde proved that meticulous organization can neutralize raw wealth. The question is no longer if small nations can compete, but how long the elite can ignore the systems built to dismantle them. This wasn't a miracle, it is a warning. Subscribe for more untold football stories.